Try to initiate release sequencer. On my mark. 5.
We're on express elevator to hell. Going down.
2. 1. Mark.
Hello, everyone. My name is Mark, a.k.a. Derringer. Today is Sunday, November 17th, and you are listening to episode 235 of the Instant Action Podcast, your weekly source for Planetside news and information. As always, I'm brought to you by great listeners like you via the Support the Show tab on instantactionpodcast.com. So how is everybody doing this weekend, or this week, I guess, if you're listening to the show on Monday as normal? I'm exhausted, had a playoff soccer game this morning, had to get up at the crack of dawn, 6 a.m. to drive an hour plus to go play soccer at Harvard today. Unfortunately, we did lose 3-1. I did score my team's only goal, so that's my small victory within the game itself. This was the first game of the playoffs, so unfortunately my team did get eliminated from the playoffs today. The good news, though, is, well, there's a couple pieces of good news. One is that we don't have to travel up to Exeter, New Hampshire for next weekend's championship game. That would be a 2+ hour drive, and even though we lost because we made the playoffs, we are being promoted up to the next division next year. So it'll be good to play in a little more competitive division like we're used to, rather than the one that we've been playing in this past season. But I have to say, I feel like I had probably one of my better seasons this time around. I scored 7 goals in 11 games, which not too shabby. And overall, like I said, we had a really good season this year, even though we didn't win a playoff game. On the home front, I actually splurged this past week on a new monitor, and I picked up a 1440p 144 hertz monitor. So I'm looking to take advantage of that in game. And if you guys saw my Twitter poll last week, I asked if I should buy a new graphics card to go along with this or not, and it was a close no, but it was only separated by 1 vote. So if I throw my vote into the ring and I vote yes, I'm getting a new graphics card as well. That should actually come in the mail on Monday, so I'm looking forward to that. It's been a long time since I've splurged on new computer parts, and it's about time to upgrade some stuff in the PC itself. I'm currently running a EVGA GTX 1060 6GB, and I'm going to, and that's running the 1440p monitor right now, but I can definitely see where I'm not taking full advantage of the new monitor, so I splurged for a brand new EVGA. I like EVGA. I know a lot of people have their preferences over what companies they buy components from, and I've been buying EVGA graphics cards for a long time now, and even though I had an opportunity to maybe go with something different, I'm sticking with them again because I've had nothing but good luck with those graphics cards now. So I actually ordered a EVGA GeForce RTX 2070 Super XC Gaming Edition. So I'm looking forward to receiving that. I should get that on Monday, so hopefully I'm able to get that all installed on Monday and then hop in and play a little Planetside 2. I know the graphics card itself is kind of overkill for playing Planetside 2, but that's not the only thing I play. And actually, because I purchased this, I got a free copy of Call of Duty Modern Warfare. I have not installed that yet, but maybe after I receive the card, I'll install it and see what the deal is with that. But enough about me. what is actually in store for this week's show? Well, the only news coming out of Daybreak Games this week as they prepare for their upcoming anniversary dev live stream was the dropping of a new game mode in Planetside Arena. So I'm going to take some time to go over the new game mode and give you guys my first impressions after playing many matches over the weekend with a lot of you guys. I saw a lot of you folks in game. So strap in as we hot drop into another episode of the Instant Action Podcast. So like I said, it's going to be a Planetside Arena only news week because that's all that's going on. Like I said, we are getting the dev live stream for the Planetside anniversary on November 20th. That is this coming Wednesday. So obviously next week's show will definitely be dedicated to going over the dev live stream, talking about the anniversary bundle and everything like that. That data was not released in time for this week's show. So if you're listening to this show after Wednesday this week, obviously you'll know some stuff that I don't know. But I will definitely cover all that on next week's show. But this week, there was a new game mode released for Planetside Arena. And hopefully this actually gets some interest in Planetside Arena. I mean, just looking at Steam charts, the 24-hour peak is only 58 players, and playing 13 minutes ago, only 47 players. But seeing as how we hit a low of 1 player at one point last week, actually getting 50 or more players, it looks like earlier today they had 55 folks playing the game. And when the game mode itself was launched, we had 70 people in playing the game. So I know the numbers aren't huge, but at least with some kind of sniff towards the new game mode, there's some sort of reaction to it to the game itself. And I know still a lot of people aren't super happy with Planetside Arena and everything that's rolling out about it. But this is what's been dropped on us this past weekend. So, like I said, I played with a lot of people in that. I saw Sirius in there. I saw Murda in there. I saw a bunch of other people that I recognized. Arai was in there playing. Shrimp was in there playing. Like I said, definitely a few people that I know were inside the game, checking it out, seeing how the Capture the Flag event. Oh no, I said it. The new game mode is a Capture the Flag game mode. So let's just talk about this briefly. So with the information released by the developers, the message that we received from them said that it's been a while since the last update. And as they mentioned in the producer's letter, a portion of the team recently shifted focus to work on Planetside 2, which allows them to ramp up support for some exciting updates that they're going to be discussing during the 7th anniversary live stream. But they did want to provide something for what they call small but dedicated group of players who still are playing Planetside Arena. So this was dropped last Friday, and it's supposed to go through Monday, but could be extended, is a new Capture the Flag mode for Planetside Arena. They're locking the squads, so you can't do squads while this is going on. Capture the Flag is the only thing that you can play in Planetside Arena, and it's a pretty small map. We're talking there's basically just an amp station. There's 2 towers. There's a small bridge in the middle of it. There's a couple spawn buildings on each side, and there's a couple other 2-story buildings within it as well. There's some rock outcroppings that you can hide behind. There's a couple towers. There's a couple round circular buildings. There's at least one antenna array. There's also a cave system. The 2 of them actually, one on each side of the map that you can actually traverse through and fight in. And I'm not going to lie, it's a small map. It's not a huge map. You can easily cross from one side of the map to the other side of the map, in less than a minute. I mean, if you're going by straight line, you can certainly cross it very quickly. The tunnels add for some interesting gameplay. The amp station, and it's just the center building of an amp station, has its normal stuff in it. There's a vehicle bay, there's the air terminal, these things you can't get anything from, but both of those are there. The bridge itself has some access under it, so you don't have to fight on top of it, but you can go under it. There's a bunch of jump pads. From each starting point has its own jump pad. Each tower has its own jump pads on it. The bridge has a jump pad up to the amp station. The amp station has jump pads off of it. There's jump pads below the amp station that bring you onto the amp station. It's not a poorly designed map at all, and not bad for a very small capture the flag type environment to play in. I really have no problems with the layout. It's very symmetrical from one side to the other. I mean, there's certainly some things that appear on one side but not the other side, but it's really not anything that I think gives too much of an advantage to one side over the other side. And so the capture the flag experience is 2 teams, 8 players max. The total is to capture 3 enemy flags before they capture your flag. And with any standard capture the flag, if the enemy has your flag and you have their flag, neither side can cap until one flag is returned. It's really easy to take a flag. You just have to run through it. It's real easy to get a flag back. Just kill the person carrying it and then run through it, and it just reappears back at your starting point. It's not bad. It's a standard capture the flag. If you've played any capture the flag, I mean, it's just a capture the flag with a Planetside-esque theme strapped onto it. And again, matches are scored up to best of 3. You can upgrade your weapons. You start off with green everything. Green, all 3 of your weapons are green. All 4 of your abilities are green as well. You cannot upgrade your abilities, but you can upgrade all 3 of your weapons to purple tier. And there are also 3 legendary weapons that you can pick up on the map itself. You can grab a Lasher, you can grab a Decimator, and you can grab a Daimyo. If you die, the Lasher, Decimator, and Daimyos all respawn, so you can certainly pick them up again. There's ammo packs, there's health pickups, there's throwables, but there are no OS grenades currently. Basically, there are no resto kits anymore, and the health pickups instead replace the resto kits and give you an instant heal of 50% of your max health if you run through one. You can select a class and load up before entering the match, and then if you want to change what you're playing, you basically go to the terminal where you can upgrade your weapons, the vending machine, and actually change your classes there and anything else that you want to change there. Also, when you spawn into the game, you actually start behind a spawn shield, which the enemy can't shoot through, but you can shoot through, which is sort of different. When you spawn into the game for the first time, though, you actually spawn on your flag, but each subsequent respawn, you actually start in a spawn room behind a shield that enemies cannot shoot through. There's also an announcer who tells, who's got, if somebody takes the flag, if somebody captures the flag, if somebody returns the flag, if somebody drops the flag, et cetera, et cetera. And basically that's it in a nutshell. It's your standard capture the flag. I don't know what else to really say about it. Capture the flag is capture the flag. And if you're curious about gameplay, as you know, each week I take this podcast and I put it up on YouTube. So go to youtube.com/Mark Derringer, and you can actually, I'm going to include my gameplay from this weekend on there. So you can see how it looks. You can see where the various special legendary power weapons that you can pick up are located. But yeah, if you're curious what this looks like and didn't want to jump in and play it yourself, you certainly can. So let's take a few moments, and I want to talk about positives and negatives regarding this. And I'm going to start with the positives first because I like to think of the glass as half full rather than half empty. And the positives for me is that it's a new game mode. So that means there are people playing it. And honestly, there haven't been a lot of people playing Planetside Arena. So getting some fresh eyes onto Planetside Arena, even if this is just a small game, is something that I'm happy that they've done. I also do like the various power weapons that you can get in. I really like the lasher, and I like the availability of the lasher and being able to use it and being able to camp myself up on top of the amp station itself or on the bridge in the middle of the amp station itself and kill folks that are trying to cut through it and stuff like that. I wish there were OS grenades in there, but that's not a bad thing, I don't think, for a game mode like this. So I do think the tiers are fine. The ammo, health pickups, and throwables that you can find are not bad. I like the fact that you can't upgrade your jetpack, shield, standard class ability, and utility. I like the fact that those all stay green throughout the game because then this really focuses more on gunplay and not the ability to locate and just upgrade your equipment in the game. I mean, yes, you can upgrade your weapons, but I do like the fact that everybody stays basically on the same level throughout the game, besides an actual weapon upgrade itself. So I do like the fact that everybody has the same amount of jetpack ability, and no one's getting better than a green shield and things like that, and the Spitty's not too OP or things like that. So I do like the fact that they went with that route and forced everybody to stay at the green level. I think it does add a leveling effect to the game itself. Now, granted, if you're a better gun player than somebody else, you're going to be able to crush some of the less skilled players in the game itself. And if you've watched some of the other folks playing this, it's clearly evident that that's the case. I do and don't like the 8v8 aspect of this. I would kind of like to see more folks being able to play it, but I don't hate the 8v8. And I do like the fact that as long as a game's going and there's room for you, that you get dropped right into one and you really don't have to wait for a match for the most part. I mean, I did have to wait a few times over the weekend to play, but it's because there was a full 8v8 game going on and I just missed getting into that one or something, and there weren't enough other people to start a new game. But as soon as there were enough to start a new game did start up, and it went from there. So I'm fine with the quickness of the ability to actually get into the games themselves. So there, like I said, there are quite a few things that I do like about this. Now, there's also about equal or if not more things that I don't like or wish that they would change. I do think I do wish we could get more than 8v8. Maybe I'm wondering if 16's too high, but I mean, I'd like to try 10 or even 12. I'd love to see a 12v12. I mean, that's basically your squad v squad in Planetside 2. I was surprised when they only did 8v8, not 12v12. I think 8v8 is pretty balanced in this case, but I would like to see it bumped up to 12v12. I also don't like the fact that the Lasher, Decimator, and the Daimyo are in static spawns. I wish when the game started, perhaps they were in a static spawn, but then as they get picked up, that they might pop up somewhere different on the map. Because right now, the Lashers both appear at either end of the underground tunnel. So when I start my first game, that's the first thing I do. I run towards the Lasher and pick up a Lasher. The Decimator is located in one of the middle buildings near the bridge. I mean, just go to the bottom level, and that's always there. And the Daimyo is always at the top of the amp station where the air terminal is. And speaking of the daimyo is super, super overpowered in this game right now. One headshot kills people, 2 body shots kills people. That's a little too much. And there's some really good sniper players out there that are taking full advantage of the daimyo and absolutely wrecking the other team. So the daimyo is definitely way overpowered. And I do assume that they will tune the daimyo to that as we move on in the game itself, because it's far superior to any other gun in the game right now, especially in the hands of a really good player. I also don't like the fact that there are already people hacking the game. I've seen quite a few hackers within the game, not in any games that I have played, but in games that other people have played, kind of shooting through walls and stuff like that. I would hope that in 2019, the devs could kind of get that in hand, especially when they drop a new game mode out. I also don't like the fact that currently in the game, there's the ability to get yourself on top of a tower, and using an underbarrel attachment in addition to a jump pad will allow a player to jump to the opposite tower, grab the flag, go to the top of the tower, and do the exact same thing and go back and capture a flag instantaneously. I mean, someone can capture 3 flags in 1 minute and absolutely end a game. And that was happening to me last night. And it was even someone on my team was doing that. The first round, they weren't on my team. And we had a really good game where it was a good 8v8. We were trading back and forth. It was even at 2 caps apiece. We were fighting, taking flags and bringing flags back and stuff like that. It was really well done. And then this one person logged into the game and was able to do that jump from one tower to the next and just grab the flag and then go back up to the top of the tower and jump back the other way, and the game was over because there was absolutely no counter to that whatsoever. Even people trying to throw a whole bunch of Spitfires protecting the flag, they weren't doing enough to kill this person so that he could keep just grabbing the flag, jumping to the top and running away with it and scoring each time with nothing the other team could do. As long as the rest of his team did their best to hold off the attackers from trying to grab their flag, it was just a very, very disheartening experience. When it happened on my team, I played that round, and then I logged out and didn't log back into the game after that because I figured that person was going to continue to keep playing it and ruin the gaming experience of it. So I think those are my thoughts altogether on it. I don't think my negatives greatly outweigh it. All in all, it's just your standard capture the flag game. There's really nothing super out of the ordinary to it. I really wish there had been something, kind of big bolted onto this that I hadn't seen before in every other capture the flag game that's out there. I mean, it really reminds me of just, a Halo game where you're playing capture the flag in Halo. It feels very similar, looks very similar even to that, which was a little disappointing. I really hoped that there was something big in this game mode that said, hey, this is something new, something different. This is a reason to play Planetside Arena. But it doesn't feel super spectacular like I had hoped that it did. I guess overall, I'm disappointed in the game mode itself. Some people who are playing it right now really enjoy this game mode. Now, clearly by the number of people playing it overall, not everybody feels that same way, but there are definitely some people who enjoy this particular game mode itself. Unfortunately, I'm not really one of them. I would much prefer to log in and play PlanetSide 2 for the large aspects of it rather than a small capture the flag. Now, turn this into a 12v12 and kind of mix up where these legendary power weapons appear and stuff like that, and kind of throw 2 really good 12v12 teams against each other, pre-made teams against each other. That might be actually something that I would watch, because that's more akin to a scrim type setup or thing that some people want to see for Planetside 2. Not everybody, of course, but some people definitely want to see. So right now I'm kind of lukewarm about it, but if you're someone who likes capture the flag modes or wants to give something different in Planetside Arena a try, it is still free to play. You know, you might as well pop in and check it out. You might be pleasantly surprised by it. Now, in addition to that, there were a couple bug fixes besides the capture the flag stuff. They fixed some issues with frame rate hitching. The quick chat text now shows the proper colors in all languages, and they added some other additional client stability improvements, all things that I didn't really notice, but are things within the game itself. So there you have the entire Planetside Arena weekend event, Capture the Flag, encapsulated for you. Like I said, if you like Capture the Flag stuff, and want to check it out, please do. You know, obviously the devs want feedback. I do think that they might as well just keep this around and not turn it off on Monday, because, you know, what's the point just having it out there for a weekend and not continuing with it. But with that, let's wrap up this week's show.
Housekeeping. Housekeeping.
Come back later, please.
Housekeeping.
Not now.
Housekeeping.
Go away.
I coming anyway?
All right, no emails, no voicemails this week, but I did get actually a comment on last week's show from one of my listeners that I wanted to actually talk about for a few moments, and that was from Tom Shift, and he wrote, "Dear Derringer, it seems the PS4 is actually getting terrible performance as of recently. For example, tons of FPS fluctuations and stuttering. Was wondering if you could hop on the PS4 and get your own opinion on how bad it really is. I'm only asking this because I know the devs listen to your podcasts." I did respond to Tom, but I also thought that it might be good to actually talk about this momentarily on this week's show because, yes, there are performance issues going on the PS4 side of the game, but there are also performance issues going on the PC side of the game. My hit reg has been absolutely abysmal in Planetside 2, and I'm wondering if it's time for a quick server reset for some of these servers. I do expect, Tom, that they're going to be bringing down the servers while they apply the patch this week for the anniversary, and I'm hoping that that will fix some of the issues that we're seeing. But it's definitely not just you. A lot of us are experiencing it on the PC side as well as the PS4 side. So if anybody else is experiencing those, maybe during the live stream, we can all ask that they restart servers to fix some of that. All right, that's going to be it for this week's show. So how can you get in touch with me or the show itself? Well, first visit my website, which is www.instantactionpodcast.com. You can also email me at instantactionshow@gmail.com. You can also call me and leave me a voicemail at 347-4VM-4PS2. Those digits are 347-486-4772. And finally, please follow the show on Twitter at InstActPodcast. But in closing, if you've enjoyed the show, please leave me a review on your podcast listening avenue of choice, whether it's iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, or anywhere else. Also, feel free to tell your friends and outfit mates about the show. But finally, thanks for listening, and keep spamming that join combat, formerly known as Instant Action button. Derringer out.
may have just spat chocolate.